Welcome to Black Girls Can Talk, the podcast where we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about what it means to be a Black woman in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. DaJaneil McCree, founder of Black Girls Can Talk. And here, we're creating a space where we can unpack everything from culture and beauty trends to mental health and the joys and challenges of Black womanhood. Whether you're here for the tea or looking for deep discussions, you're in the right place. So grab your seat at the table and let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Black Girls Can Talk podcast, where we uplift and empower the stories of Black women. Today, I have a special guest with me, Miss Rashadah Jordan. Hi.
Hi. Hey, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. It's just so important to not only have Black women on the podcast, but Black women who really doing it. You know what I mean? And who are just putting on for the rest of us. So thank you for your interest in joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I want to first open up with you telling the people who you are. So, and today's theme is just talking about healing from the inside out. And that's through mental health awareness and intentional self-care. So I know that you are a physician assistant and you specialize in holistic approaches to health for Black women and also advocate for mental wellness and community empowerment. But just let us know who you are, a little bit of your background, share as little or as much as you would like. Just tell us who you are first.
Okay, so my name is Rashadah Jordan. I have been a physician associate for 6 years. I see ages 5 and up. Been working in this field, teaching, doing the psychiatric curriculum, working with PA programs. Right now, I precept for UNC and Methodist PA program. I'm excited for that. I'm a mentor. I work with pre-PA students, prospective students, those that are interested in going into the field, no matter what specialty. But some people do come to me and want to work with me just because they have a special interest in going particularly into psych, but PAs don't have to specialize. So I always tell them keep their options open because it might change, because I thought I was going into cardiology and I ended up in psychiatry. So
Okay.
yes, I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey, and we moved to South Carolina while I was still young. I did all my schooling in South Carolina, started my career in Virginia, and it's been ongoing ever since.
Amazing. And so you just taught me something. I didn't know that there didn't have to be a specialty.
No.
That is so interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So all my girlies who are thinking about it, go ahead. You could figure, as you just mentioned, you could figure it out as you go.
Yes.
I think for all of us, we are still figuring it out, okay?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
do not think we have it all figured out just because we have these letters behind our name, okay? So definitely thank you for kind of just inserting that knowledge, because I think a lot of people do not know that, like myself, especially if you aren't already in the field.
Yeah. No worries. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people like. We can switch specialties anytime. But then like there's other specialties that require you to specialize, whereas we don't have to. Like we don't have to do the whole residency thing. We can do a fellowship if we want to, but we don't have to.
That is good to know. And I always wonder stuff like that because, with medical doctors in particular, they do residencies. And even I had to do residencies, but they were academic residencies and not what you think of, right? Which makes sense because doctor of philosophy, I'm not practicing medicine, so I wouldn't do a medical residency. But I never know like what the qualifications are for other professions. So again, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
So I want to get into our target population of Black women. So I want to just talk about how we are impacted as it relates to mental health. I know that we are 1.5 more times likely to experience stress-related mental health
Yeah.
challenges
Yeah.
compared to our white counterparts. Only 30% of us seek mental health care compared to nearly 50% of white women, as well as chronic stress significantly contributes to health issues like hypertension and obesity.
Right.
disproportionately impacting Black women.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about what are some of these common barriers for Black women when they're accessing this mental health care? So, I can think of a few on the research end, but tell me from your experience.
My experience is the same across every culture. I know we're diving into Black, our culture, our background, but it's the same across everyone. It's always the stigma. It's always, no, I don't know any of my family members who ever seek to take care of their mental health or admit it that they have a mental health issue. So it's pretty much everybody around you can see that you have a problem, but as long as you ignore it and you don't acknowledge it, and the people around you become kind of okay with your behaviors and how you handle things, and it's never addressed, then we just say, oh, that's just Lucy, that's how she is, that's how she acts, and that's how she behaves. And I think for the last couple of years, until COVID came in 2020 and really put a spotlight on it, because then we were stuck at home with each other, and then people were like, okay, you probably really need to consider going to see someone, going to talk to someone. But before that, it was just like, oh, that's just Jim. That's how he is, and that's just his personality or how he acts, and it's not okay. Some things are really not okay.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's the fear of being judged, the fear of thinking, especially the older generations, what are people going to think about me if they find out? But the question I always ask my patients back is, who's going to know? Because the only two people that are in here is me and you. So unless you go with a blowhorn and announce it to the whole world, who's going to know you were here? Who has
Wow.
tabs on you? Who's going to know what we did today? Because it's
Yeah.
confidential on my end. So you would
Mhm.
have to say something. And then
Right.
they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then they're a little bit more open to
Mhm.
opening up and talking, but it's definitely building that rapport in the very beginning. Letting them know it's okay. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're, seeking help for your anxiety or whatever it is that may be bothering them. But I think it starts at home.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in that way, you're fostering trust as well. Like you mentioned, just saying, like, hey, I can't tell anyone about this, right? So it will literally be up to you to dispose that information or to tell someone else, right?
Right.
So the choice is yours. Now, we do live in an age where people track locations.
Right. Right.
but but most times a building comes up and not the name of the establishment, right? Or something like that. So again, unless you're telling someone, "Oh, at 2 p.m., I was at this place," and that's the name of it,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean?
Nobody's
That's
gonna know.
right, right. That's a really, really great way to just build that trust, among the people that you help, because there's a lot of mistrust, unfortunately, as it relates to seeking healthcare services, whether
Right.
that be mental health, physical health, whatever have you. So thank you for sharing that. I really love how you just dropping these nuggets.
I don't dropping the nuggets. I'm just chatting. I'm just like, but I'm very passionate about it because,
Mhm.
like you said, a lot of us do not seek help, and a lot
Yeah.
of us are dealing with some pretty serious things. It's not
Mhm.
always like you can go see our light skinned counterparts and they will diagnose you with schizophrenia or something in a heartbeat, and that's not what you have. It's just you have to be a part of the culture to understand the culture. So we understand the mistrust with police and with the medical industry as a whole, but you go to someone who does not understand the place of where we're coming from and why it is the way it is. They might have heard of it in passing, but it's not really a priority or a great deal for them. So they're like, "Oh, she seems very paranoid and schizoaffective." And you don't how many times I have been working for an outpatient facility and my counterparts have misdiagnosed a Black patient.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I like how you said light skin counterparts, okay? I might start using that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I want to just kind of piggyback on what you said about understanding. I think people can understand in a sense that I'm telling you my story and you can empathize with me, but
Yes.
you don't have the same or haven't had the same experience. So that way you don't truly understand, right? You can read something and understand what it means. But unless you unfortunately have the lived experience, it's a different level of understanding. I totally agree there. I also wanted to kind of shift into talking about prioritizing self-care. Now, me personally, I have to get better. I have to get better, but you know what? God always sits me down when needed. Like last week he said, "No, no, no. We need you to rest." And I was sick for an entire week because I was not taking care of my body. On top of the fact that someone got me sick, but that's neither here nor there. It still was great timing to just kind of remember to take a break. How do you, in the patients that you see, in the conversations that you have,
Mhm.
how do you help them to understand how to incorporate self-care? Or what conversations do you have with them surrounding that?
So I always give out this website. I should be sponsored by them, but it's
Oh, that's right. Come on, sponsor.
yes, come on, sponsor. Psychology Today. It's good for the whole United States, no matter if you live in the middle of Timbuktu, you just
Mhm.
enter your zip code and it brings up all of your options. I know that there are websites and directories that highlight Black and Brown therapists and providers, men and women, but I haven't come across or know any in particular to bring up. So I always just give Psychology Today because that's how I found my therapist, and she is of color. Um, and if it opens, if you're like in a certain state, like for instance, I'm in North Carolina, and you're like, I don't care to go to somebody's office, I can do this virtually, that would open you up to the whole state. So you could live like in Raleigh and your therapist be in Charlotte. Like it doesn't matter. Just as long as they're in North Carolina, you can still see them. Your insurance is through the state. Watch boundaries. Speak up for yourself.
Absolutely.
I do
Mhm.
recommend the book Boundaries with the pencil on the cover. I recommend setting them up with a therapist. And I also recommend noticing what type of rest you need because there's 7 types of rest.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so, what type of rest you need, but always listen to your body. But there's
Yeah.
sensory, creative rest, spiritual rest, emotional rest,
Mhm.
social
Yeah.
rest, mental rest, physical
Come
rest.
on.
You have to see what have you been doing too much of? Are you overstimulated? Do you just need to lock down for a minute and have some alone time? Or do you need some social time? Have you been isolating too much? Maybe it's time you do go out and be with people and make you feel better.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I mean, sometimes our rest does come in that way, to be around others and just be able to I always tell people, like, sometimes I just need mindless activity
Yes.
where I don't have to think. I don't have to just, quote, unquote, "be smart." I
Right.
can just be. And
Be.
so sometimes that is being around other people. Sometimes that's being by yourself, but to your point, you don't wanna be to yourself so much so that you're isolating.
Right.
I
Because
love that. Go ahead.
no, no, no.
We
Go
we both like because I could talk about this all day too. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because a good girls' night or a good night,
Mm,
girls' night in, or just being around your girls can really just make a difference and make you feel
for
okay. That's
sure,
what I needed. But yeah,
for sure. And I was just gonna say your first point about boundaries. I live by boundaries.
yeah,
I have boundaries for texting. I have boundaries for email. Like I have boundaries in and out of the workplace,
yeah,
because it's important. Like you
it
have
is
to take care of your quality of life, right? Like your for me, I'm not at optimal health if I'm always tending to something,
right.
right? If I'm always just giving of myself.
Yeah,
So that's where those boundaries come into play. And I'm gonna write down that book because I have a few people that I can
yes.
give it to. I need to read it myself. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that I'm gonna okay, let's remember. Okay. We
Okay.
got it in the head. We got it in there. Okay.
Yes, there's a
um,
whole series. There's ones for
okay.
parents, there's one for marriage, there's one for boundaries with friends or other relationships. There's a whole series on it. Yes.
Hey, I like that. I like that. And so let's talk about like some practical steps up because we want to talk about healing from the inside out, right? So let's talk about some of those practical steps to kind of avoid emotional fatigue, signs of burnout, or recognizing signs of burnout. We talked about finding certain types of providers and mental health care professionals. What are some practical steps for, or that you would suggest for healing from the inside out?
I would definitely say if you have triggers, because a lot of things start at home. So if you had a rough childhood growing up and different things like that, and you've been running on empty to prove a point, or maybe you have a lot of accolades, just notice when you're tired, when you need to rest, instead of saying, no, I'm gonna pull an all nighter and I'm gonna go back to school for this and I'm gonna
Mhm.
work two jobs over here and I'm also gonna mentor on the weekends and I'm also gonna volunteer at the homeless shelter and all these things are great, but what are you doing for you? How are you going to slow down? So sometimes it's okay to check in with your inner child if you do have any trauma from childhood, to do things that you never got the chance to do. Like one of mine's is Ghost. Patrick Swayze, I think, the man in Ghost, and so they were on the pottery wheel, and I always wanted to do that. So I brought myself like a kid pottery wheel on Amazon,
That's so cool.
and I'm gonna do it. And then after I
Yeah, that's
finish
it.
using it, I'm gonna make my little pottery, and then that's gonna be it. But it's just the experience to feed into
Mhm.
my inner child, to go to the playground and swing on the swings and different things, or go for a walk, just embracing that inner child. But then if you don't have any trauma and you're just like, no, I'm just tired, put boundaries in place with your job. Like going back to that, what we talked about, if your job offers PTO, take your PTO.
Take
if
the
you
day.
if you don't feel good and you got a viral infection or the pink eye and you call out for that, why can't you call out for your mental health? Why can't you
Come
say
on.
it's a sick day?
Come
I
on.
can't.
Come on.
Yeah, I can't do my job mentally because I'm not where I need to be
Mhm.
to even fake the funk today. I need a
Mhm.
day to myself, or I need the rest of the week. If they're offering, time, they don't need to know that you really say, I mean, if they ask for a note or whatever and you go to the psych person, or you have a therapist, they could write you a note to excuse you from work. But I'm just like, utilize your PTO time, utilize your sick days. The job cares about their bottom line. I hate to say it, but they pretend to care about you, but they don't. So just you care about yourself. You find a way to make that job work for you. And if you don't feel good, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, you take your sick day, because that should count as a sick day to me. I feel like employers should offer mental health days. To be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm. Now, speaking of that, shout out to my employer because we do have wellness days. And I have never experienced that anywhere before,
Uh-huh.
especially in academia, right? And so far, there've been I don't know if they're every month or there's been two within this current semester.
Uh-huh.
And even the students are like, well, Dr. McCree, sorry, but how are we supposed to get this assignment done? And we have a wellness day on Monday. And I'm like, do it on any other day but the wellness day,
But
okay?
yes, yes.
Because not only for faculty but for students as well, take that day. Please don't do any work
Mhm.
because it's literally a day of reset. And although it's not like you get a week for it,
Right.
having that day to reset sometimes
Mhm.
is it changes things.
Yes,
It
just the day to breathe, or whatever it is
Mhm.
that you normally don't get the opportunity to do because you're in class, because you're teaching. You can actually get it done, and maybe that might make you feel better than you having to think about it while you're at work all day.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right. Right. So I want to switch gears a little bit. This season, we are actually incorporating something called the rundown.
Uh-huh.
So if you're familiar with the game of like this or that, so I'm just gonna do a couple spitfire questions, and you have to choose one. So
Okay.
you cannot say both. Okay, so choose one. So I'll give you two options, and you'll pick one. Okay, never overthinking. Just go with the flow and pick
Okay.
one. Okay.
Got
Alrighty. So would you prefer therapy or journaling?
therapy,
Okay. Same. Meditation or prayer?
prayer,
Amen. Same. Bubble bath or long walk?
I'd rather get my steps in. I go for a walk.
Okay. Do you have like an Apple Watch that records the rings and all of that, or one of
Yes,
those type of situations? Okay, see,
yes,
when you said get my steps in, I knew it. I
yes,
knew it.
yes.
Okay. Solo self care day or group wellness retreat.
I guess I'll do solo because when
Mhm.
you on a group, then you're on their time,
Mhm.
but on
Yep.
solo, you're on your time. So you do what you want when you want to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yoga or strength training.
I used to love yoga,
Mhm.
but I think I might go with strength training just because we need the gains, the muscle. We need the gains.
Come on, yes, dang, summer is coming, y'all. Listen,
Yes.
me personally, I don't get into the gym,
Yeah.
but people should. People should. Yes, essential oils or herbal teas.
Well, I would do a herbal tea.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I would do a herbal tea. I like essential oils too, especially eucalyptus spearmint. But if I go with
Mhm.
herbal teas, hibiscus is so good. Watermelon
Mhm.
tea. So yep,
Mhm.
I go with the tea.
Okay. Period. Period. Deep breathing exercises or guided meditation.
Guided. Because sometimes if I'm sitting there breathing and I'm alone and they ain't saying nothing, either I'm gonna go to sleep or my brain gonna go somewhere else and then I'm not
Right.
going to get it done. I need them to kind of walk me through it.
Got you. Got you. Understood. So sleep in Sunday or early morning mindfulness.
Early morning mindfulness so I can
Mhm.
reflect and look at the week
Mhm.
and what we did and all the things.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Okay, we have a few more. So affirmations or vision boards. Oh, this is another both for me, but go ahead.
Yes, I know. But if I look in the mirror and I say affirmations, it's like you're taking that 5 minutes a day to look at yourself straight in the eye in the mirror and affirm yourself. So I think
Mhm.
affirmations for me,
Okay, wonderful. Digital detox or music therapy.
digital detox.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Traditional medicine or holistic healing.
Oh Lord, it depends.
I
Um,
know.
I'll do traditional medicine.
Okay. Acupuncture or massage therapy.
Massage. I don't like needles.
Okay. Understood. Understood. Okay. Reading a self-help book or listening to a wellness podcast.
Because I just listened to Mel Robbins. But then again, I'm also reading How to Win Relationships. And I forgot the title of
Yes.
the book, but
I love that book.
I
I
just
love
started
that
it
book.
on Audible. So I'm like, oh,
I love that book. I can't wait till you finish. You gotta tell
yes,
me how you felt about it. I read it in college and I feel like I keep reading it. I
yes,
just love it. So I hope you're enjoying it so far.
yes. I'll do a book because at least with the book, I get to switch the authors and learn a little bit from everybody. Whereas a podcast, even though I love hearing from the same person on the podcast, but you feel like you get to know that person, even though you don't. And then it's like over and over type of thing, like redundancy after a while.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Um, that's real. Okay. Last one. Healing your mind first or healing your body first?
Ooh, the mind first, because the mind control the body.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yep, yep.
Come on. Come on. That's it. That's it.
That's it.
No, so that was fun. I like that because it got me started to think like, okay, maybe I should start doing this instead of that. Right.
Yeah,
So thank you for indulging me in that little game. And it's just something to like lighten the mood as well as like kind of like I said, get ourselves thinking about some things that we could put into play for
right.
self-care especially. I want to kind of close out with any do you have any last thoughts for us? And kind of a two-part question. So any last thoughts for us or if you have any advice specifically for black women about some of the topics that we discussed today?
You don't have to be strong. We have
Mhm.
been strong for over 400 years. If you're tired, own that, say you're tired, and rest in that. Abide in the Lord Take your time. If you feel like something keeps coming up over and over and you recognize it within yourself, you know that you're constantly overreacting or constantly anxious or constantly feeling sad or dropping, like crying at the drop of a hat, then don't deny yourself that opportunity to seek help. There's nothing wrong with needing therapy, and there's nothing wrong with taking medications. I always tell my patients, yes, I do psychiatry, and I also take psychiatry medications because I'm tired of being strong too, and I deal with anxiety too. But if you have more than anxiety, that's okay too, because the Lord created all of this. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's the same thing as going to the doctor if you have strep versus coming here because you can't make it through the day without having a meltdown in the bathroom every day. Like, you need to take care of your brain, because that decides what you can do and what you can't do, like what your endurance. So please don't deny yourself that opportunity.
For sure. And while we're on it, do
Uh-huh.
you have any words of advice for our allies?
Yes. If you are an ally, first of all, thank you. Um, Second of all, educate yourself, because there's a lot I didn't even know that was going on. Um, a lot on threads, a lot of people say, look up Nat Turner and look up the Delectable Negro. I think it's called, that book. I haven't even read it yet, and but it's some stuff in there that will further help you understand why things are the way they are and give you a little bit more insight into the culture, because everything isn't always, the music and the style. While that definitely is a wonderful part of our culture, but you have to dig a little bit deeper. This goes beyond George Floyd. Like this, I need you to dig real deep and try to understand why we do the things we do, we feel the way we feel, and we don't go certain places, and all these things. It's a deep seated history lesson that they don't teach, that they try to hide. So if you are an ally, the best thing you can do is try to educate yourself. And I think that's a good place to start, because that goes back as far as I can remember. But Nat Turner, I didn't even know about him. That was something that I learned about recently. And then the
Mhm.
Deluxe Negro. That's
Yeah.
a good book.
And that is actually a great closing, because remember that knowledge is power, right? So
Yeah,
for me, all of my degrees are in education,
yeah,
but just going back to the education piece, like we don't know what we don't know.
right,
So we need to make sure that we're educating ourselves. And like you said, that's not just for allies, that's for us
right.
too. I need to read the book that you just talked about. Let's be
Yeah,
clear.
I need to read it
Um,
too, but
yeah,
I just
because
need some time because it's heavy. And when you
yeah,
read, you get mad. And so I
yeah.
need breaks. After I found out
Mhm.
the little piece off of threads that I found out, everybody's like, read the book, read the book. I can't just leave this and go read the book because I'm already
Yeah,
mad.
yeah, yeah.
So I need to calm down
Mhm.
first. So pace
For
yourself,
sure.
because this is definitely not a book you'll be able to just zip through and be like, oh, that was nice. It might take you a couple months. I know it's going
Yeah.
to take me probably the rest of the year, because you get upset. You get so upset.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I definitely want to thank you for just sharing your knowledge with us, and just kind of talking through. I'm already thinking about what I'm gonna do for self-care after this, okay? So thank you for sharing your expertise with us. Thank you for sharing your insights and just giving us actionable steps, right? So make sure that you all are setting those boundaries. You're actively incorporating some self-care techniques, okay? And then just making sure you're taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Before we let you go, please tell us how we can find you. If you have a website, if you have all the social medias, let us know how we can find you.
Yes, on Instagram, I am the resilient. That's resilient with a Z instead of an S, PAC. And within that, my Instagram is public. You can click on the link and it'll send you to my website, my Beacon store, my articles. Everything is in my bio.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Well, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much because although we work in different fields, this topic is very, very important to me as well. And I just thank you for, again, being here and sharing what you know with the rest of us so we can pass it on to the next generation, right?
Yes, and thank you for having me. Thank you for what you're
Mhm.
doing, shining
Thank
a
you.
spotlight and creating a safe place for us to exist and be able to
Mhm.
have girl time, sisterhood time. So I thank
Mhm.
you so much for creating this space and this opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Mhm. Yes, well, thank you for that. And y'all, if you learned anything, which I know you did because I learned some stuff from this episode, please share it with someone you know and even ask them to share it with somebody they know, right? Because as we said, knowledge is power, and we want to be passing it on to not even just the next generation, but the people that we are surrounding ourselves with. So make sure that you stop by our website, blackgirlscantalk.com, and purchase the book because, again, knowledge, educate yourselves, read up on some stuff that you may not have known before. That is all for today's episode. Until next time, stay powerful. That's a wrap on today's episode of Black Girls Can Talk. I hope you felt heard, empowered, and inspired by today's conversation. If you love what you heard, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your girl. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at blackgirls_can talk to stay updated on future episodes and join the conversation online. Got something you want us to talk about or want to be a guest on our show? Hit us up on social media or visit our website at blackgirlscantalk.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, Black girls can talk, and we've got a lot to say. Until next time, stay powerful.